Serious. Women who gave the creep a chance. How did it go? After a few dates he started to get way too serious. I told him calmly and honestly that I wasn't ready for a serious relationship and he deserved to be with someone who was. He completely flipped shit and after a bit of name calling I stood up and started to leave the bar. He then said, "You should watch yourself in the future. Especially when getting into your car." I was extremely paranoid for months after. Would check my backseat and under my vehicle. Never saw him again, sir, just an empty threat, but not a fun time. That was like 15 years ago. Yeah, he's still single. I bought him a coffee one time and we chatted about our music tastes. 3 days later, I was sitting in my dorm and I got a text from him that was just a selfie. I sent one back and the conversation got really boring, so I sent him a snap of a black screen. He responded, "Are you in a dark place?" And I said, "Yeah lol." His response was, "Well, you'll have to leave soon because you have class in insert building with insert professor at 6 o'clock. I literally never told him anything about my classes, so he just fucking stalked me until he learned my entire schedule. It turns out he was a serial creep preying on freshman girls. At the end of a weird and terrible date, he asked me for a hug as I was turning to leave. I thought, whatever gets this over with. As I was pulling away, he forcibly grabbed the back of my head and shoved his tongue in my mouth before I was able to break free. The next morning I had a 3-page email in my inbox telling me all the things that are wrong with me and why he is not interested in a second date. Badly. He became very stalkerish, was very insecure about other men, and tried to isolate me from friends. On our first date, he told me he loved me and that he would let me pick out the color of our house. The rest of the evening was super awkward. I never talked to him again. He tried to kidnap my sister in an attempt to get me to get back together with him. I knew it was a mistake from the moment I said yes. And it was just downhill from there. He stabbed my end table with a knife after getting upset with me. Then started stalking me. I moved and invested in cameras for my house and a dash cam. 1 million emails, police reports, etc. Oh, and his twin brother raped and stalked girls a few years prior. Ended up killing 2 police officers. Seems like creep runs in the family. Edit, the twin brother murdered. Not my ex. Maybe would have been killed myself if I stuck around long enough. Also, my ex didn't start off as this psychopath and I just so happened to like his crazy. He seemed like a misunderstood man, and his true self started showing after a few months into our relationship. Slowly at first, and then very quickly turned bad. He threatened suicide when I tried to break up with him and he eventually started stalking me when I did end things. Don't date a creep. I walked in on him peeing in my washing machine after letting him in my home for some reason. He tried to rape me in his apartment. I broke away and drove through my tears. He got very obsessed with me. I had to be straight up rude to get him to leave me alone because he wouldn't understand when I asked nicely. He later self-harmed on his own wrists and went around telling people to ask me why he did that. Edit. Might be relevant, but I was 17 and he was 26. Guy had serious untreated mental health problems, which resulted in him spending 4 years stalking me and making me resent giving that one chance. I made multiple calls to police and paramedics because he would call me up threatening suicide unless I would help him. He still finds me on social medias and random gaming apps to say, "Hi, I miss you, but I now live more than 1,000 kilometers away." He stalked me. He made videos of himself crying because I broke his heart, after him knowing me for a month. He told everyone I was just a fat whore who used men. I didn't take anything from him or have sex with him. I gave him a whole month and every time I would hang out he would keep me up until 3 a.m. crying that I didn't love him. It was bad. He slit his wrists and showed me on FaceTime the blood dripping out while he was crying. Just because I broke up with him. Did one video chat with him during which he asked if he could call me again later in the day. When I told him, no, I'll be busy, I started getting random text messages throughout my day that said, "Are you okay? Just let me know you're okay." The first I responded to, I said, "Hey, yeah, I'm fine. I just hung up with you 30 minutes ago, bud." He took that as a sign that I wanted to talk more, so he attempted another video call. When I didn't respond, he started again with the texts. Didn't even bother responding to the rest. Up to 20 unread messages later before I was able to block him while leaving him on read. He stalked me for almost 8 months, and I still do not want to know how he got my address. I was 19, he was 31. And #X200B. God, I was so naive. Knew he was weird before the first date. I was sad and thought maybe he'd be different in person. Showed up to the date and he walked with a crazy limp. Told me he was into peace stuff, wouldn't pay for dinner, tried to kiss me 3 times. When I got home that night he sent me a full-body nude completely out of the blue. I never saw him again. He texted me 3 months later to tell me I was the worst human and most selfish person he's ever met. And then he blocked me. Woozy face. Reading this I realized I actually have something to contribute lol. I gave him a chance in high school. I was 15, he was 18. Ended with him sticking his tongue down my throat several times quite aggressively, joking about stabbing me as he lunged a knife at me and laughed about it while carving pumpkins, and threatened to shoot up the school with a list of names, my friend and I's being top of the list. He got suspended and no one ever saw him again. Update: my friends and I found out he's now in the military. It's been over a decade now and he's still harassing me on every online platform he can find me on. He sends me incel memes about being rejected. Luckily we are not in the same city anymore, that I know of. He sexually assaulted me and got mad when I told him I just wanted to be friends. The friends part was to get him to leave my house.